Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching my show, William Wallace for America. Here we are at the Plan Revealed, Mike Lindell's event in Springfield, Missouri, and I am honored to be able to talk to Tina Peters. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I can't tell you how I got a chance to see you here. I love what you've been doing. I love how active you are in the community. And I'm going to say it this way, some people look at things and they go, well, they don't like what this person's doing, they don't like that person's doing. But I believe that when you're when you're having action, you have passion, and you put it into action, and you're doing things for the community, whether you like it or not, it's to benefit everybody, and that's what I see you doing.
That's right. Well, there's a reason that people were born during this time right now, and that's because to get involved. You know, there's no accident that you were born. You and I
Exactly.
were born, and that the people out there were born during this time. And, to find your purpose and find what God has called you to do is a great joy. People say, they come up to me that, that don't know me, and they'll say, oh, I'm so sorry on what you're going through. Well, you have to understand that whatever God calls you to,
That's right.
He will see you through. And so, all you do, you don't ask why, you just follow Him. And that's basically, what I've done. And I will say that every day not in jail is a good day.
That's right. Well, to prove your point that we're meant to be here at this time, and when people look at the actions of what we're all doing to try to help save our country, protect
Yes.
our freedoms and liberties, if you've ever been at the grocery store and ran into an old friend, you weren't supposed to go to the grocery store and you needed something weird, and you go there and you run into that old friend, and then you rekindle a friendship, and maybe that friend it saves you for something else. That is proof that God's plan is in work, is in the work.
That's right.
So when I look at everybody here at this conference and know that everybody's coming together for the same reason, to protect not just Republican elections,
That's right.
but Democrat elections,
Yes.
not just for who might be or could be or should be in office, but for everybody who wants to have the right person in office.
That's right. And I want to just tell you that the people that have come after me the worst are the Republicans. We've got a Republican DA, never Trumper DA. We've got Republican commissioners, and of course Democrat Secretary of State and so on and so forth. But it's not about Democrat and Republican, William. It's about the cabal, the Marxist
That's right.
ideology that wants to take our country down. And we have to stop pointing fingers. That's been the lie that's been told to us,
That's right.
is that it's the Democrats' fault, or to the Democrats, it's the Republicans' fault. That has been their plan, their disinformation plan, to keep us fighting against each other while they worked the little puppet strings. So there are people on both sides, Democrat and Republican, that are operatives in this goal to take down America, and that's why it's so important that the people out there listening to your broadcast need to be involved.
I appreciate that because, and to your point, when you look at how many legislatures across the country are majority, supermajority Republican legislators, and
They're doing nothing.
And they're doing nothing, or we're still getting, we're not getting, conservative movements, or to ban, let's say, ban boys and girls sports bill, gets killed because of a couple Republican legislators that either don't show up or vote against it. It's proof, like you said, that it's not a Republican issue, it's not a Democrat issue, it's an issue of an establishment that has learned that the best way for them to profit and make money is to be able to divide us up.
That's right.
And that's why on my platform, I'm always trying to find people to come together to save our country for everybody, not just Republicans or Democrats.
That's right. And I will speak to the Christians out there. Do you know 40% of Christians do not vote? And
Christians, where are you?
Yes, exactly. If just the Christians would start voting, we could just, win with landslides. But I think people have listened to the rhetoric that their vote doesn't matter, William, and that is the furthest thing from the truth. That's the disinformation that they want you to believe. But it is true that you can go, that you can vote, you can be confident in your vote on the last day, take your ballot with you if you're a mail-in state, take your ballot with you. If they tell you that you've already voted, you call law enforcement, and you make sure law enforcement shows up, because if you vote and someone's there already voted for you, they will put you on a provisional ballot, and they count the first ballot that comes in. A lot of people don't realize that. So it's important that you just don't go away, and that you make your voice heard. It's when I think about pastors, and I think about, this whole lie that's been told them that, oh, you'll lose your 501c3 if you talk about politics. This is not politics, William. This is moral issues.
That's
These
right.
are moral issues. And every time, if you think about it, elections is the foundation of this country. For the citizens to be able to vote and elect their representatives to represent them. We are the government. We are the people. Those are the people that we elect that are supposed to be doing what we ask. And so if you don't vote, then you're part of the problem. The other thing is if you look at elections, you can trace back every single problem in our country today. Open borders, fentanyl, child trafficking, and abuse, the wars that are going on. Every single thing comes back to the people making the decisions that have been selected in office. So we have to get involved. And of course, tomorrow, the plan is going to be revealed.
The plans will be revealed on a way to protect our elections, and I love it. There's ways to do this through hand-counted ballots.
Yes.
And look, I repeat this over and over again, so my listeners have heard this 1,000 times. Yes, you're heard 1,001 times, which is, if your identity can be stolen through the internet,
Yep.
if your ransomware for businesses get their databases stolen, your identity gets stolen, your credit cards get stolen, your money gets stolen, then what would be the reason that nobody would want to break into our elections?
Well, of course, and all we're asking is for more transparency. When I put on Facebook Live that I wanted more transparency, the Secretary of State went to the judge and had me removed from office. That is illegal. You cannot remove an elected official that's been elected by the people from office. Another elected official can't do that. So these people are breaking laws, and what we need to do as citizens, we need to be at our city council meetings. We need to be at our school board elections. We need to be at our commissioners' hearings. We need to make our voice heard. We need to wear T-shirts. Tomorrow I'll be wearing a T-shirt that people love, and that says "Stop the Tyranny Against Tina." We need to. When I'm in Arizona, I have a T-shirt that has Katie Hobbs on there with the MS-13 tattoo on her head.
Oh, no.
And her name written out and cocaine sprinkles across the T-shirt. But and you have to laugh. But here's the thing, people, you need to make yourself visible. Wearing T-shirts that have something that invokes a conversation.
Letting other people in the room know.
Right, that they're not alone. Letting them know they're not alone. And so I remember and I told General Flynn when I saw him last night. I said, do you remember what you told me 2 years ago? And I repeated what he said. And I said, you told me to be as visible and as vocal as I could be, that the safest I would be. Now I've had my hotel broken into after everything was revealed a week later when I was flown to Texas. I've had, they've come after me to try to do things. I've had 24/7 security. I've been thrown in jail. And you'd say, well, we don't want to be Tina Petered. I'm a verb. I'm a verb. But here's the thing.
The verb now.
Is if there's more of us, because there are more of us than there are of them. But if we, and I'm saying all of you out there, if we all do something,
they can't Tina Peter all of us.
They don't know where to shoot. They see, when there's only just a few of us out there, we're a target, but they can't target us all.
Yeah, that's a great point. So many people think that to be involved, you've got to be considered a conspiracy theorist. Oh, well, I don't want to go to that because I'll be a conspiracy theorist. Or
Fair.
I don't. But it's so, like you're saying, it's so easy. One point earlier you made was showing up. if you go to the council meeting, you go to your legislature. Well, let me tell you, when I go to the Baton Rouge, the Louisiana legislature, when that hall is filled, those elected officials notice.
That's right.
And if
they do.
at the council meetings, if everybody shows up and it's standing room only, and they realize they're not going to be able to this is not going to go unseen, they're going to take notice, and then it becomes peaceful. Then we don't have to worry about bullets or whatever, like you're saying. If more people show up, there's more witnesses, there's more people noticing, there's more accountability. It gets everybody involved, and it's all peaceful.
That's right.
And all you have to do is show up.
Call these people out. See, I would challenge you to call these people out. Name names. We are not the little go along, get along Republicans. We've had to go into fifth generation warfare and start, being tougher and confronting our enemy. If someone is in your town is doing wrong things, you go and you call them out.
You go and confront them.
You confront them. So it's on record, and everybody knows what they're doing. Because and you've heard this quote: the only thing for evil to succeed is for what?
For good to do nothing.
Good men to do nothing. And to know that something is evil and not do something is evil itself.
Evil itself, right.
So we need to call it out. And for you pastors out there and you people that go to their churches, if they're not preaching the truth, if they're not standing up regardless of the cost, then you find yourself another church. Because we need the pastors to start to, I was in church in Denver. Happened to be in Denver, and I just said, it was a Sunday. I said, I'm just going to drop into a church. I'm sitting in the back, and I could feel the Lord say to my mind, He said, these are my people. He says, they're asleep. He said, we need to wake them up. And so that's our commission, is we have got to wake people up. Because, just like Mike Lindell says, there's going to be an outpouring. The Lord is not slow in His coming, but He's not willing that any should perish. And these people that are blind, that have been blinded by the enemy to what's really going on in our country, we've got to go and wake them up. And that's something that everybody can do.
Well, like I said, to your point, you might be the I don't want to say the person that gets the blunt, of everything, but you're putting yourself out there in such a way that more people might get scared when they worry about what happened to you. But the motivation, if more people get together, more people get out there, talk to their preachers, they can do it one-on-one. They don't have to show up at an event like you're saying. They can go to their preacher and say, look, I'm not receiving this message. Can you talk more about family? Can you talk more about this? They can go to their politicians, and when you say call them out, they say, look, I don't like this. I had an issue in my neighborhood that I didn't like. I called my elected official, and I was peaceful and happy and professional about it.
Right.
And let me tell you something. You get reactions sometimes by just being peaceful.
That's right.
And being able just to quietly have a conversation with them. That's all it takes. I'm simplifying it because a lot of people are so scared about it.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing. There's either faith or fear. And fear will keep you shackled. It will keep you depressed. It'll keep you hopeless. You have to have faith. They said a lot of things about me, that I would be in prison. That's why that people couldn't vote for me for Secretary of State. I won that, or for GOP chair. I'm still here walking around.
Exactly. And you're still here fighting.
So you can't not do something because you're fearful. Because, once you put your hand to the plow, you can't look back. And God there's a purpose and a plan. I remember when I was, in 2016, I was diagnosed with lung cancer. I was a flight attendant. I'd been on the airplane when they had the smoke-filled cabins and things like that. That's where I believe it came from. But I remember saying to God, I said, okay, Lord, I said, if this is my time, then I'm okay with it, And I said, but my prayer, don't let me leave this earth until I've accomplished everything that you sent me here to do. And at that split second, William, I knew that I was going to live and not die. I knew it. It was like, it just, the hope welled up in me, and I said, I'm not dying. I'm not going anywhere. He's got more for me to do. Never expecting where my life would lead.
God had a second purpose for you, Tina Peters.
Well, here and listen to this. So and people out there may feel that, yeah, but I'm not like Tina Peters. I don't speak well in front of people, or I don't want to be the center of attention. I just want to do my thing. God picked someone who did not like to be the center of attention, who did not like to speak in front of people, or the limelight, or any of those things, to do all of those things. Because I'll tell you why. He picks people like Moses, and like, that stuttered, and different people, Gideon. He picks the people because then they're not doing it in their own strength. They know that they know where their help comes from.
That's right.
And so it gives him all the glory. I never plan what I'm going to say when I get up to speak. God might give me a few things that he wants to cover, general things he wants me to cover that day or whatever. But when I get up to speak, I trust him, and I just look out at the crowd, and I just love them. I look, because they're his people, and my heart just wells up with love for the people, because he's not willing that anyone should perish,
right.
but all come to the knowledge of him and be saved. And so that's really what I want to tell people, is that all you have to do is just step up and say, pick
here
me,
I am,
choose me, Lord, and he will use you, and it might be in ways that you never expected. And trust me, he will equip you to do whatever it is you're going to do.
You know what I believe the takeaway from this interview is? That anybody can get involved from doing nothing but just showing up and being a warm body in a room that adds numbers to make elected officials notice that there's more people watching, to someone like you who has now found a voice on a bigger scale, to somebody who's an elected official that has found a way to be able to get into an elected position to be able to change policy and make a difference. And that's the takeaway I want for people to realize, that to find your path, find your avenue, and just be involved, because it's about being involved, is about the future of our country, the future of our freedom and liberty. And you might not realize it, but look at how easily they've been taking it away from you. Imagine, if you will, if we don't have roadblocks, they're doing that to everybody.
One of the things, William, about being in jail was that I realized, here I am, 67-year-old Gold Star mom. I lost my son, many of you know. He was a Navy SEAL, and cancer survivor, all these things, didn't even have a speeding ticket or a parking ticket. And they've tried to convince people that that all of a sudden I just went on this crime spree, right? Well, it's interesting because you don't know what you don't know, right? And so talking to your elected officials, showing up, like you said, being there. I used to tell my kids when they were little, and they'd say, I can't do something. And I'd say, Philippians, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I'd say, okay, good. And then I'd say, honey, just go as far as you can see.
Right.
And when you get there, that you'll be able to see farther. And that's what we have to remember when we step into this thing. You don't know what it's going to look like. You don't know, where but God can't steer a parked car. He can't, it's like I think it's the Quakers say, when you pray, move your feet. Because I've heard so many people say, well, I'm praying. Well, move your feet.
And you know what, and to your point, there's a lot of people that don't want, it's interesting, because there's a lot of people who don't follow faith. They follow passion, and so I tell people that if you don't believe that it's God's will, or you don't believe it's something of faith, maybe you're not a spiritual person, but you don't agree with what's going on, sure, let your passion for the right thing push you, or take those steps to get to where you need to be. And by simply doing that, you might realize that you're a part of a plan.
That's right.
God doesn't always say, hey, you got to talk about me. But he says, look, you got to honor you got to honor my blessings, and and I think God has blessed us with the freedoms and liberties that we have.
Oh, yeah.
Here in this world, and it's up to us just to follow a few simple rules that He gave us, and to honor Him from His blessings. And when we do that by simply showing up,
just show up.
A lot of things come in.
Just show up. It's interesting. So after I got out of jail, I remember I went to the grocery store, and some people were at my house that were kind of watching out for me, and they got really worried. And I think I just went to get one thing or something, and I just wanted to get out. And they are calling me and texting me, like, where are you? Where are you? I get back and go, we were so worried about you. And I said, I walked into the grocery store, and there were 20 different kinds of toothpaste, and there were 50 different kinds of soup. And oh my gosh, it's like people have no idea the freedoms that we have, and we've taken it for granted. And when you realize that your freedom, your liberty can be taken just like that,
exactly.
just like that, just like it was with me, and then you're willing to stand up and say, we've got to move forward, and we've got to do it now. This is not something like Mike Lindell says, if you're waiting for it to rain, it's pouring outside. Our country is being eroded and taken over minute by minute. So get going now.
And they're doing it in such small increments, people don't realize.
It's like boiling the frog.
Exactly, boiling the frog, and they're doing it little by little, and you don't realize, well, wait a minute, they cut some trees down in the playground. Well, that's not losing my freedom. Well, yeah, it is, because the politician that hired the park director that made his own decision to cut down the trees, maybe you like those trees. Well, it's a freedom, because now that those bureaucracies get bigger because people aren't watching, it's as simple as that, to as big as being deplatformed or being arrested or whatever. Well, how can people find out more about you?
Well, TinaPeters.us. Everything's there. You can watch the 1-hour documentary they did about me, and pass it on to your friends. You'll like it. It's easy to watch. It has drama. It has humor. But then it also has facts in there. And they can go there and donate, which I would really appreciate, to help with my legal bills. And also watch some of my shows. But I'll have to tell you, I was up on my property, which is my little piece of heaven, and a little day to decompress. And I had this weed burner thing, this torch. And I did read the directions, and the directions said, don't burn it to a crisp. Just the heat from the blowtorch will kill the leaves. Then they said if you burn it to a crisp, the root will regenerate, just like in a forest fire, right? But if you just kill off or disturb the leaves and the buds, then it will send a message to the root that not to waste any more time on this plant. And I thought, oh, that's brilliant. And I started thinking, I said, gosh, look at these weeds. What about weeds? They're obnoxious. They grow in places they grow in places where nothing else will. And what is it for weeds to take off? It's for it's untended ground, and that's what's happened. Is we have not been tending our ground. God gave me that when I was out there.
That's a great one.
But we have not been tending the ground of our elections, of keeping our leaders accountable.
So the weeds are taking off.
That's right. So we've got to get busy.
TinaPeters.us.
.us. Just remember my name, and we're going to save the U.S. TinaPeters.us. Please come visit me if you want me to speak. In your county, in your state, you can contact me there, and I'd love to come talk to your clerks, your commissioners, and do events. Just let me know.
Tina Peters, I cannot thank you enough for being on. I'm honored and grateful that you spent this time with me, and I'd be honored and grateful if the audience would share this interview with other people. Please go see TinaPeters.us and visit and see some more shows there. Thank you all very much for watching, and I really appreciate it. Have a great day.